Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're going to explore why you should stop chasing the shiny objects. I'm going to give you a real life example of how I went from $450,000 in revenue to $1.5 million in revenue because I stopped chasing the shiny objects. And this is going to be extremely relevant if you are a notary, beginning, intermediate, or even advanced. I see this mistake all the time because I have learned it. So I'll walk you through my real life example as well as what else I see in the field. Now, before we get going, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, please. You would do me a huge favor. As the channel expands and grows, we can provide more content to notaries all along their journey, put more money back in their pocket, and more importantly, teaching the skills so that they have the flexibility and time freedom that I get to enjoy daily that I want so bad for my audience because it is an amazing feeling. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to give you my real world example of how I scaled from $450,000 in revenue to $1.5 million in revenue. So what I'm going to do is give you the story of 2023, my signing agent business and my signing service business, Superlative Signings. Now, January 2023, it was incredibly slow. I think we did 63 appointments for the signing service that month. There was just me and Ethan just basically had a very chill month, barely working. He got paid his full salary. It was dead, okay? So I started marketing even harder because I had a lot more time on my hands because I had less appointments for me and the signing service. Now, fast forward to July of 2023. End of July, I'm going to the Loan Signing System Conference in 2023 in San Diego, and I am meeting with Melina Fuenmayer, the owner of the signing service in Miami, the closing signing service. And in 2023, I think she did around 1.3 million in sales. So I wanted to get time with Melina and talk with her because I'm trying to be where she's at, where she is scaling to a 7-figure business. And I want to know what she does on a daily basis. What do her operations look like? What's her mindset looking like? And basically the conversation was, we're doing the same things. However, Melina is not doing individual signings. She realizes that she can't scale herself, but she can scale the signing service. And that's pretty obvious when you think about it, because she's one person, and the signing service, you can have many employees. So one is scalable, one is not, because one person is limited to the amount of hours in the day. That's why you need more people in a business. So what I was doing up until that point, July of 2023, I think at that point I had about 60,000 in revenue for my individual signings that I had personally done through July. And the signing service had done maybe 150, 200,000 or so. And at that point, after having that conversation with Melina and also seeing Calvin out of Tampa, also a 7-figure signing service owner, chat on stage from the 7-figure panel, I realized that I have to commit to taking a step back, and I can't spend all of my efforts in two places. In other words, I can't be two places at once. So what I was doing my signings full time, 20 signings a week. And whenever I had time, sprinkling marketing for my signing service. But I was just kind of, doggy paddling. I wasn't making real progress that was meaningful to me, where I'm trying to blow up the signing service to get to 7 figures, 8 figures. And the reason was because I'm spending all my time doing individual signings. Now, as a signing agent, where I see this happen a lot is you're going to get distracted in many different avenues, and we're going to touch on that in a second. But to finish the story, I came back from the conference, and in August, I said, okay, all my clients that I'm used to doing signings, all your signings, I am no longer going to be doing your signings. I'm going to focus most of my efforts or all of my efforts on scaling the signing service and marketing just the signing service, not me doing individual closings. Now, that first month, my clients, they were a little, annoyed because it was a kind of a curveball. It is what it is. But, they felt they could understand why I was doing it. Okay, they understood that I'm trying to get to the next level, and that requires taking a step back. And most of my clients understood this. So I scaled back from doing 80 in July, and I think August I might have done 30 closings. And then I scaled down into September, and the rest of the year I was doing 10 or less the rest of the year. So basically 1 or 2 a week tops. And then now it's maybe, 2 or 3 a month at best. So maybe, 1 every couple of weeks, maybe 2 a month. Like it's basically none. And what I did the rest of the year with that extra time was market the crap out of my signing service locally in in the DMV, go to more events, follow up on social media, shoot way more videos, etc. Start a YouTube channel. And that worked out. So the end results were, 2023, if I had continued my path, I probably would have done about 110,000 individually as a notary signing agent, and my signing service would have done what it normally does. It would have done about 445,000. So altogether, had I not changed my path and I was still splitting my time, total revenue between both businesses that year would have been about 555,000, 445 plus 110. And the profit would have been about 200,000. That's awesome. However, what I did was I took a step back from the more profitable signings, which was me doing signings individually, to scale up my signing service, knowing that the profit margin is way less for the signing service, but I know that in time with volume, I more than make up for it. I more than scale because I can't repeat myself. And there's a cap on me because I'm only one person. So the end of 2023, what actually occurred as far as revenue was for me, I did 71,000 individually. So basically I slammed the brakes on, stopped taking closings, 71,000. My signing service for the year did 563,000 in revenue. So total revenue, both businesses, was 634,000. And the profit was 183,000. So less than that 200,000 had I made no changes. And yes, it is an initial step back. But the point is, and I had this conversation with myself as I'm walking around the Loan Signing System Conference in San Diego one evening, just doing the math. I'm like, okay, if I step back, how long will it take for me to, get to the point where profitability wise, I'm much better off? And I said, probably about 6 months. And I was right. I stopped taking signings in August, essentially. And then 6 months later, 7 months later, we're now end of March 2024. And here we are. And here's where we are in 2024 as an update. Individual signings this year, I have done $950. And for the year, I'll probably end up somewhere around 4,000. About 1,000 a quarter. So very minimal signings, which is the plan. Just only if I am desperately needed by my super closest clients and they have no choice and I'm happy to help, I will do it. But I'm trying to make sure I don't. Only when necessary. So I'll maybe do 4,000. But the signing service for 2024, my projections are we're going to finish the year at around 1.5 million. So the profit between the 1.5 million and the 4,000 individually will be about 300,000. Last year, had I done nothing but just kept the same pace, not really marketing the signing service, my profit would have been about 200,000. So in the span of a year and a couple months, I up profit by 50% by focusing on the thing that I can scale. Now, how in the world does this relate to you as a signing agent if you're not a signing service owner? Let me connect the dots. What I typically see are notaries at many different points in their journey, but either way, as business owners, we have this chase the shiny object mentality, and it is both a blessing and it's a curse. It's a blessing because we are chasing down opportunities that most people don't see, and we're always thinking outside the box, and we always love a new challenge, and we love the newness of things, We're fascinated by that. The curse is that if you have 7 different foundations, you're doing loan signings, you're doing general notary work, you're doing apostilles, you're doing permit running, you're doing field inspections, you're doing officiating weddings, and you're doing RON, the problem is you're not an expert in any of them. And a better analogy is that I gave it the last meetup I had this past weekend for the DMV is trying to study 7 languages at once. How to learn 7 languages at once. How hard would that be? How long would it take for you to actually master one of the 7 languages? It would take a really freaking long time, probably multiple years. But what if you focused on learning 1 language at a time? Just 1. And you spent the same amount of time collectively, you were doing 7, and maybe you were doing, 5 hours on each of the 7, and you just spent 35 or 40 hours on 1 language a week. How fast would you be fluent? Number 1, it wouldn't take you multiple years. You'd probably be fluent in maybe a year, or potentially less, depending on if you're doing immersion training, if you're around people that speak the language, you're really getting extra practice. But the point is, number 1, you'd learn 1 language, and number 2, you'd get there so much faster. And it's the exact same analogy for a notary signing agent. If you are trying to pursue 7 things at once, you are an expert in none of those things, and you will never be an expert because you are spread too thin. If you need 10,000 hours of mastery and you're doing 7 different things to have mastery in any of them, you basically have to get to the point of 70,000 hours. I don't even know the math on how many years that is, but it's a lot. It sounds like a lot of years. So yes, focus on 1 or 2 things top so you can be an expert in those areas. And why is this important? Because people hire experts. Experts in an area will stand out because they clearly are that much better. When they do content on that 1 or 2 things they're really good at, it's obvious they're an expert at, because they have spent the hours and the time, and they have stories to tell. They have expertise on a whole nother level that other people have. And I see it every day with notaries. They're just trying one thing. They don't really give it a good enough effort. They try the next thing. They give it maybe 2-3 weeks, a month tops. They don't put real effort into it. And if it doesn't pan out and, instant success right away, they pivot immediately. In other words, they have all these foundations and they just essentially quit and move on to the next thing, ultimately having, no results that are meaningful. I'll give you another example. There is a very famous notary trainer. I'm not going to name this person's name, but this person, and I follow a lot of notary trainers and notary YouTubers on YouTube because I try to get better. So I learn from different people that have, bigger followings than I do, because there's something to learn from those people, right? And this particular person, I would describe this person as more of a scatterbrained type of personality. And again, I'm not going to name their name, but they are obviously a very famous notary trainer. So they're a notary trainer. They have a ton of notary training content. And they sell a lot of courses and boot camps and one-off trainings, and they post a lot. So, okay, the notary trainer, great. They are a YouTuber. They have 60,000 subscribers. Okay, so clearly a YouTuber. Great, awesome. They have a signing service. Fantastic. I don't know if they're active in it or not. I'm assuming they are, or semi-active. They are still doing loan signings, but not only are they still doing loan signings, they're also adding, the wedding business in there. They're also actively doing field inspections, of course, general notary work. Let's see, what else? They are a licensed realtor in 2 states. They are a loan officer. I'm not making this up. They have so many avenues, and it's this whole idea of, well, I need 7 or 8 streams of income. Like, again, the most successful people on the planet focus on one thing, laser focused. They become very narrow in a niche, and they become the best on the planet. They make a stupid amount of money. And then once they've amassed that wealth, real wealth, 7, 8, 9, 10 figures, then they're splitting it many different places because they've already amassed it. Now they're just trying not to lose it. What we're trying to do as we're in the wealth building creation phase is getting so distracted and doing all these different things, and we have revenue from every single one. In this person's case, I'm giving you an example of, I'm sure they have revenue in every single one, but I challenge that person, if they focus, really, there's only 2 opportunities that are scalable: the training and the signing service. Now, the signing service, like me, it could be fully passive, but to scale it, you could definitely do that if you put the right salespeople in place. So I would challenge this person, if I met them individually, and just say, look, what are you doing? Scrap all this crap you're doing here and focus on scaling your signing service and making the best notary training possible. And obviously, I'm not talking about Mark Wills. So my goal would be outdo Mark Wills, be the best notary training on the planet, and scale your signing service. And both of those businesses could be 7 and 8 figure businesses alone. The rest of the stuff is not ever going to come close to being a 7 or 8 figure business. You doing field inspections, you doing loan closings, what are you going to make at best? 200 grand? That's it. Okay? I'm not saying that, I'm not poo-pooing that. What I'm saying is there's a limit. So you have to focus where your time is the most valuable. So as a signing agent, spend the most time where you're going to get the most value. So if it's loan signings and you're having problems after marketing your business, let's say 1 or 2 months, what I said at the training we just had, and I'll say it again here, is I would give loan closings and marketing to direct title companies, realtors, lenders, I would give that at least 3 or 4 months. And if after 2 months, if you are going into title offices, you're bringing gratitude, you are talking about the benefits that you can add to them, and you're following up on a weekly basis every single week without fail, you're probably posting social media content, and after all of that, and you're closing no one, there's a problem. You're either not going in with gratitude or your pitch sucks. And if your pitch sucks, I am happy to hear your pitch and see where I can help get you there. Because when I started and I was doing my pitch marketing direct, I was not great. I was closing maybe 10%, 20% tops. Now I close more like 30 to 40%. Not immediately, but over time. Because I focus more on the prospect and the client, the future client, than I do me. But when I started, it was all about me vomiting at the mouth about all the things I can do for them, instead of, because they've already mentally checked out at that point. And we'll do a separate video on this. But the point is, if you're doing all those things, give it at least a few months, 3-4 months, go into 30, 40, 50 offices. And then if you're not closing anyone, or even if you want to get to 20 or 25, if you're not closing anyone, just reach out to me directly on the internet, please, email or Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, right here. Just let me know, and happy to potentially help you hear your pitch and see what we can tweak. But you should be closing, people. Give it enough time so that you can give that marketing avenue a shot, that opportunity, that business opportunity, a real shot before you pivot, which is really terms for giving up. Don't give up, work the opportunity, okay, to its fullest extent. And then, okay, if that isn't working, let's pivot to something else. Maybe you need to be focusing more on networking events because you're an outgoing type of person. Or maybe you need to focus more on realtors because you close a lot more on Instagram because you interact really well on Instagram between your content, DMs, and that's just more of your specialty. But the point is, whatever you're doing, general notary work, give it a real shot, not a half shot, give it a real shot. Go all in on that one thing, focus, put effort and time into it, and see what you can build. But you'll never know until you stop building all these other things going on at once. So just really focus is my message on this video, because that is where the riches are in the niches, period. Like I shared at the last meetup last weekend, I have done maybe 5 to 10 general notary work appointments ever in 4 years. However, I've done over 3,000 closings. Where do you think I made all my money? Because I focused on that one opportunity and just beat it to death. And I found some success. I worked at it. I got better. I found more success. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I just kept going and going and going. Yes, I heard about apostilles. And yes, I heard about permit running. I heard about all this other stuff. Just white noise. Just push that out and focus on what's going to get you the most money the quickest, where you are an expert, because people will pay for your expertise. Okay. So I hope this has helped. And if it has not, feel free to comment. If you disagree, you're like, Brad, you're an idiot. I'm doing 5 different things and I'm killing it. And I will challenge you and push back and say, you could probably do way better if you did 1 or 2 things really, really well and scale the crap out of that. Now, always happy to hear your comments. Love hearing from our community. Please tell me your thoughts. Are you an expert? Are you focusing on one thing, or are you spread too thin? What do you think? Love to hear your comments. And if you don't already know, our special offer, if you are a notary signing agent, but you're not going to start a signing service, we are happy to pay you 10% commissions on any referrals you send our way. So that literally just means you send us an email with your title client and CC me, Brad at superlativesignings.com, and say, hey, Brad and his team at Superlative Signings are happy to help you for those out-of-state closings I can't personally do, the Ron closings I can't personally do, if that's not your deal, the bilingual closings you need. Whatever it is, we are happy to help, and we don't lose clients because we take excellent care of them. And we don't want your local stuff, we just want the out-of-state stuff and the other 49 states you're not commissioned. And if you're going to start a signing service, ignore that offer and feel free to watch my How to Start a Signing Service video right here. And otherwise, I appreciate you being so loyal and watching to the very end of the video. You are indeed the 1%. You are the die-hard, ride or die, always learning people I love and respect, because I'm that way. I'm that dude that watches people's YouTube videos, podcast videos all the way to the end. That's just me, because I'm trying to glean every little piece of info I can. So thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, I appreciate the heck out of you. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Feel free to like and share if you like the video and someone else could benefit from it. And until next time, I will see you on the next one. Peace.